Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Rabbit and Red Reviews. I'm Eric. The Balvenie 12-year-old first fill single barrel will be the single malt scotch I'm going to be reviewing for you all today. I'm going to give you a nose taste finish review, tell you a little bit about the value of this whiskey, give you my final thoughts and a score, and as always, leave you with the malt musing. But first, let's chat a little bit about the Balvenie and this single barrel 12-year-old scotch. So the Balvenie is a fairly popular single malt distillery located in the Speyside region of Scotland. And this is quite actually an interesting one because unlike bourbon, which you can, especially here in the United States, often find single barrel expressions, it's not always as easy to find that with Scotch single malts. And usually when you do, they can be really, really expensive. So seeing them do a single barrel or single cask expression that's pretty much readily available is super cool and definitely got me interested. So I'm excited to review this for y'all today. So the specs on this, this is bottled at 47.8% ABV. It does say here, non-chill filtered, which is fantastic. And yeah, the Balvenie single barrel is not chill filtered. At lower temperatures or an addition of water, a slight haze may occasionally develop Scotch mist. This is perfectly natural and does not impair the quality of the single malt in any way. Glad that they explain it. So it doesn't say anything on here about color. So it is possible that they have added some color to this whiskey, but there's a lot of writing on this tube, as you can see here. It doesn't say explicitly, though. I took a look before anywhere that about natural color. So, you know, I guess we will assume that they perhaps added a little bit of natural color or a little bit of color into this, but it certainly doesn't look like it when it's poured in the glass. So let's talk a little bit about how this is made. So this is what is called it's a first fill cask type, and essentially what that means is the single malt has been matured exclusively in first fill ex-bourbon barrel for at least 12 years. So that means this is a brand new bourbon barrel. It has not been filled before. They're not doing refurbished barrels. This one is straight from the United States. This is the first malt that's been put in it, and it says, our malt master carefully samples the aged whiskey cask by cask. He'll only select single malt characterized by the sweetness and subtle vanilla oak he expects from maturation in this type of cask to be bottled as the Balvenie single barrel first fill. Okay. Again, here's the presentation. I just love the Balvenie's presentation. I just think they have a great looking bottle. I love the colors they use. I think that they give you a ton of information, maybe even too much in this case. I mean, this is what the tube looks like. As I showed you, it shows you everything you'd ever want to know about a barrel and how this process works, which I think is super cool, but I will spare you the explanation. And, you know, you find this one on the shelf, feel free to take a read. But as far as everything that's important to us here today, the Balvenie Distillery remains totally dedicated to the traditions, care, and craftsmanship of malt whiskey making. It's been owned and managed by the same independent family company for 5 generations. Nowhere else will you find a distillery that still grows its own barley, still malts it in its own traditional floor maltings, and still has coopers to tend to the casks and a coppersmith to tend to the stills. So a lot of info. They do handwrite the cask number and bottle number on here. So for those who pay attention to such things, this is cask number 2132 and bottle number 262. All right, let's get this in the glass. Okay, so that is what we're looking at. Kind of a nice pale gold straw color almost. Really good looking. And, you know, given that this is a 12-year and it is that light, you know, you would think that they have not added color to this, but it's hard to be certain. Okay, so on the nose. Really fresh. Fresh, it's sweet, a little bit grassy too. I'm getting like honey, kind of some bright like apple, and some citrus as well. I'm thinking orange or pineapple. Really sweet, barley sugar. Okay. Vanilla as well. There's definitely vanilla, which would make sense. This is exclusively aged in first fill bourbon, so that's not a surprise. All in all, really nice nose on this. Let's give it a taste. Let's launch it. A little hot and a little astringent on the arrival, but then sweet, kind of like a cafe mocha, some acidic fruit and pepper, heavy vanilla, barley sugar too, again. So the malt in this is really makes its presence known. You just get that sweet barley sugar flavor. And there's sour too, sweet and sour. There's a lot happening. As for the finish, medium length, sweet, acidic, a little bit sour, a little bitter, slight herbal, kind of like a herbal note in it. But again, prominent notes, vanilla, kind of cocoa, white chocolate maybe. A little bit salty too, maybe like salted caramel or something like that. This is good. I'm gonna put a little water, see what happens. 47.8% ABV, so bringing this down a notch. We'll see what happens. Interesting, so right away on the nose with the additional water. Almost getting like a creamy lemon meringue type thing going on. A little bit of that oak cask. Vanilla again, heavy vanilla, a little bit of that apple tart, kind of apple, there's citrus. I think it's like, it's more of a green apple than like a red apple or golden apple type thing. It's just kind of tart. Okay, good to taste. With the addition of water, that kind of alcohol astringency I mentioned on the first taste, pretty much totally gone. It takes away a little bit of that pepperiness too, and what you get is just a really viscous mouth coating, like vanilla, caramel, chocolate. A bit of that fruitiness, a little bit of that herbal note too. Still, just a lot of the different taste senses playing off each other, sweet, sour. This is quite complex. For a 12-year-old, I mean, usually this one might be a notch above in terms of complexity of your average 12-year-old. Yeah, it's just really unique. Sweet and sour, a little bit of that bitter too. Almost like bitter herb, like parsley or something like that, I don't know. Yeah, this is an interesting whiskey. I personally really like it, but I think that this isn't a starter whiskey, especially for folks who are just getting into single malt. You know, they may see this on the shelf and think, oh, this is the 12-year-old expression, the kind of entry level. This one is definitely not. This one is going to be, I would say, for someone who's had their fair share of single malt scotches from Speyside before you would dive into something like this. Value-wise, this is $70 to $80, which is right on that borderline, but I think it's worth it. Yeah, it's such a singular, unique experience. And honestly, just tip of my hat to Balvenie for, again, having a single barrel, single cask expression that's so readily available. It's just something you don't see a lot of in the United States market for Scotch. I'm not sure what it may be like in Europe or other places in terms of the availability of stuff, but you don't see this a lot. So, final thoughts. I really enjoy this. Definitely not an introductory single malt because it is, it's incredibly unique and a very singular experience, which I guess is what you'd expect. So I would say, you know, grab this up if you're looking for just a unique and at times kind of a challenging single malt whiskey that you're not going to have to break the bank for. This Balvenie 12-year-old first fill single barrel, right up your alley, especially if you like Balvenie's expressions or like kind of sweet Speyside whiskeys. But if you're, you know, a beginner and, you know, Balvenie is a name that you know, I would recommend looking at the 12-year-old double wood first. I think it's a bit better of an introductory single malt, and you know, it'll definitely help you appreciate this one all the more. So my final score on this is going to be a 4 out of 5, which is I highly recommend picking up a bottle of this. All right, one more time. There is Balvenie single barrel, first fill, 12 years old. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this dram, and we will catch you next time here on Rabbit and Red Reviews. So lunch.